Think about the last time you lost at something that mattered. Not just small inconvenience, but something real, a competition, a job you wanted, a business that didn't work, maybe a relationship that ended badly, a goal you genuinely believed you would reach, something where the outcome was not what you needed it to be. How did you handle it? Did you process it cleanly? Did you extract the lesson and move forward? Or did you spiral, blame yourself, blame others, avoid anything similar for a month, quietly decide that trying that hard again was not worth the risk? Most people handle losing badly, not because they are weak, but because nobody ever taught them how. And one of the few places where you can actually learn to lose well repeatedly in low stakes environments with immediate feedback is actually sports. Because here is what I have come to believe: the ability to lose well is one of the most underrated life skills that exists. And competitive sport is one of the only teachers still offering that. So today's question: can sport teach you how to lose? We live in a culture that has become increasingly intolerant of failure. Everything is optimized for success. Highlight reels, success stories, best moments. So the losses get edited out. The failures get reframed as learning experiences before anyone has actually processed them. And the result is a generation of people who are deeply uncomfortable with losing, not just disappointed by it, but genuinely destabilized by it. There is a specific pattern I want to name. People who grew up protected from real competitive failure, who were shielded from losing, whose parents intervened when things got hard, who were never really allowed to be last, often become adults who avoided competition entirely, or who compete but can't handle the result when it doesn't go their way, who take a single rejection as evidence they are not good enough, who quit at first real obstacle because they never built the psychological muscle to absorb a loss and keep losing, real losing, where you genuinely tried and it didn't work, teaches you things that winning never can. It teaches you that you can survive disappointment, that the world does not end when the result goes against you, that there is a self underneath the outcome that is separate from the score, that the effort and the result are two different things, and only one of them is fully in your control. Sport is one of the clearest, most honest environments where you can learn all of this. Because in sport, the scoreboard doesn't lie. You either won or you didn't. There is no ambiguity. And that honesty, as uncomfortable as it is exactly what makes it such a powerful teacher. Let me get specific about what losing well actually teaches, because it's more than just resilience, which is a word people use so often it's lost its meaning. The first thing it teaches is the separation of effort from outcome. In most of life, we conflate these two things. If it went well, I must have done well. If it went badly, I must have done something wrong. But sports, specifically competitive sports, breaks this assumption constantly. You can play the best game of your life and lose because the opponent was better that day. You can prepare perfectly and get knocked out in the first round by someone who was simply more talented. The effort was real, the result wasn't a reflection of the effort. Learning to hold that separation, genuinely holding it, not just saying it, is one of the most psychologically freeing things a person can develop. Because once you truly internalize that you can control effort and not outcome, you stop being terrorized by results. You stop avoiding situations where the outcome is uncertain. You stop needing guarantees before you commit. You commit fully to the efforts and make peace with whatever the scoreboard says. The second thing losing teaches is perspective calibration. When you compete often and lose regularly, individual losses lose their power over you. The first loss in a season feels devastating. The number 10 feels like data, and the lost number 15 feels like Tuesday. Not because you have stopped caring, you still care and you should care, but because you have accumulated enough losses to know that you survived them, that they end, that the next opportunity comes. Now let's talk about the patterns of losing badly because I think naming them is the first step to changing them. The first pattern is identity fusion. This is when you can't separate the loss from who you are. The business failed, therefore I'm a failure. I lost the match, therefore I'm not good enough. The rejection came, therefore I'm not worthy. The loss becomes evidence about your fundamental value as a person. And once you are in that pattern, the only way to protect your self worth is to stop competing or to never try hard enough that a loss would actually mean something. The second pattern is blame displacement. Instead of processing the loss honestly, asking what you can learn, what you could do differently, what was simply outside your control, you redirect the discomfort outward. The referee was wrong, the conditions were unfair, the other person got lucky. Sometimes those things are true, but when blame displacement becomes the default response to every loss, it eliminates the feedback loop that makes you better. You lose the loss, you don't grow from it, you just survive it. The third pattern is avoidance. After a significant loss, you quietly restructure your life to reduce the chance of feeling that way again. So you choose smaller goals. You enter competitions where you are certain to win. You stick to familiar territory. You call it being realistic, but what you are actually doing is letting one loss set the ceiling on your ambition. And that ceiling gets lower every time you make that choice. All three patterns have one thing in common. They protect the ego in the short term and damage the person in the long term. So, how to lose well? Three steps. Number one, feel it fully, then give it a deadline. Losing hurts, so don't skip that. The people who handle loss best don't suppress it, They feel it completely and consciously, but they also give the emotion a container. You get tonight to feel bad about it, tomorrow you start extracting. This is not toxic positivity, it's processing with intention. Number two, separate what you controlled from what you did not. Every loss has two components: things within your control, like preparation effort, decision making, and things outside it. For example, the opponent's performance, luck, circumstances. So, do this separation honestly. Own the controllable, release the uncontrollable. This is not about making excuses, it's about knowing precisely where to focus your energy going forward. Number three, stay in the game. The single most important thing you can do after a loss is not to quit, not reduce your ambition, not lower the goal. Stay in the game at the same level of commitment. This sounds obvious, almost nobody does it. The natural instinct after a painful loss is to protect yourself from the next one. So resist it. People who build real resilience are not the ones who lose less. They are the ones who keeps entering the arena after every loss. So can sport teach you how to lose? Yes, better than almost anything else, because sport gives you a controlled environment to experience failure repeatedly at manageable stakes with immediate feedback and with a clear next opportunity to try again. It compresses what life spreads out over years into a season, a match, and a race. But here is the deeper answer: sport does not just teach you how to lose, it teaches you that losing doesn't define you, that the result and the person are different things, that you can try your hardest, fall short, and still be exactly as capable and worthy as you were before the scoreboard updated. The people who never learned this, who grow up protected from real failure, who build their identity entirely around being good at things, often become the most fragile adults in the room, not the weakest, often the most talented, but the most brittle, because they never built the one thing that losing builds: the knowledge in your bones that you survive it. That knowledge is worth more than any trophy, because you carry it into every room, every decision, every risk you take in your life. It says, I have been here before. I know what this feels like, and I know what comes after. That's what sport gives you when you let it. Not just fitness, not just skills, but the capacity to lose and come back anyway. Three things for you this week. One, think of the last significant loss you had in sport, work, money, anything, and ask yourself honestly, which pattern did you fall into? Identity, fusion, blame, displacement, or avoidance. Just name it. Naming it is the start of changing it. Number two, do the two column exercise for that loss. Write what you controlled and what you didn't. Only the first column gets your energy going forward, and release the second one. 3. If there is something you stopped entering after a loss, a competition, an application, a creative project, or a business idea, decide today whether you are going back in. Not when you feel ready, not when the conditions are better, but decide now because the arena doesn't get less scary by waiting. It only gets easier once you are back inside of it. That's it for today. See you in the next one.